Well, with us now is defense attorney Ambrosio Rodriguez and CNN law enforcement contributor Steve Moore. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Ambrosio, to you first. Let's get to the question of charges and actually put up a graphic on screen that lists the charges against David and Louise Turpin as they stand now. As you see them on the screen, 12 counts of torture. There are also 1 count of a lewd act on a child. That's David Turpin only. Let's bring up the rest. You see 7 charges of violations of a dependent adult and also 6 counts of child abuse or neglect, and there are 12 counts of false imprisonment. Now, let me ask you this, Ambrosio, given what we know right now, as has been shared by the authorities, are the charges right in your view, and do you expect others to be added?
Yeah, I do expect more charges to be added. During the press conference today, the DA, Mike Hestron, made a point of letting the press know that the investigation is ongoing. Whenever children that have been abused and have been obviously abused for decades begin to tell their story, they never are able to tell everything at once. I mean, they're going through a process where they're beginning to learn what the world really is. I mean, they're being, for the first time ever, to be properly nourished. I think as they tell more, there will be more charges. I mean, the children themselves are the evidence of the abuse, of this brutal abuse.
Yeah, indeed. And Steve, more to you on that point. The children are the evidence. These are children who essentially have been locked away for long periods at a time, emaciated, suffering nerve damage, as has been reported. We are getting a picture. Something is emerging from what authorities are sharing. But where are the holes in your view? What will authorities be drilling down on?
Well, actually, there's not many holes in this at all, Aisha. I mean, the holes in our knowledge right now is immense because the kids, as Ambrosio said, they have not had time. If they talked from the time of the arrest until now, they haven't had time to talk about everything that happened. But one thing that's in the prosecutor's favor here is that there is at least one adult. There's a 22-year-old. That person has a recollection and a standing with the court that's going to be easier to utilize in prosecution. It's always difficult when you're talking about 5, 6, 7-year-olds. You don't want to make them relive these situations, and there's all sorts of questions about what a child will remember. But when you have a 22-year-old, that's going to be some pretty good evidence, and she can corroborate what the younger ones say. These people should never, if this is all true, and it appears it is, they should never see the light of day.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, it does presuppose, though, that the 22-year-old has the cognitive ability of a 22-year-old. I mean, the expectation is with what they've been through, that will be somewhat impaired. Ambrosio, to bring you in, I mean, further on from that point, authorities say the home was filthy. I mean, it reeked of a stench of urine. The kids, as we've already detailed, you know, there were the chains, there was the alleged beatings, the strangulations, and whatnot. Are you surprised, given what authorities found in terms of physical evidence, that David and Louise Turpin have pleaded not guilty? Not only that, have waived their right to a speedy trial. What does that say to you?
That's completely normal. At an arraignment, that's what today was. A judge would not accept a guilty plea. This is the first time that they've had a time to talk and meet with their counsel. The defense attorneys haven't even received or have just received the police reports. A not guilty plea is standard at an arraignment. It doesn't mean that they're going to not plea at a later time, although I doubt that they will. I expect this to go to trial. Because I think they are psychopaths from the evidence, and I don't think they did anything wrong. I see him as a cult figure, and she was his handmaiden, and they thought that whatever they're doing, they're kind of this kind of horror show cult, they think that they are right. I mean, that's part of being a psychopath, right? You think that whatever evil you're doing, it is the right thing. So, I mean, I as a prosecutor, as a defense attorney, I've had cases like this where it's just going to go to trial, and a jury will have to decide.
Yeah. Steve Moore, the abuse of these children, according to authorities, began long before now. It began when they were living in Texas. They're saying that they were there for some 17 years, and authorities now appealing for help, saying effectively someone must have known something, someone must have seen something. I mean, that's a pretty fair assumption to make, right?
It is, but at the same time, We haven't seen anybody who knew about it in California for 7 years. So it's possible that they hid it to a certain extent in Texas. But you still have to go back. It is almost inconceivable to us that nobody figured anything out. Like, if these kids didn't even know what a policeman or medicine was, then how about the people in Las Vegas? How about those people? Did they wonder why the kids didn't know certain things, why nobody knew what a cell phone was? I think there are so many questions about that.
Yeah, multiple questions. Ambrosio Rodriguez and Steve Moore, always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for the great insight.
Thank you.